Welcome to Granny Peach's Kitchen with Chris and Blair.
Today we making brown sugar glazed ham.
Okay guys, today we're gonna have a Dearborn spiral sliced ham. I don't get anything for telling you this. However, their hams are the best ones that's here in Michigan. We got light brown sugar. We're gonna have a cup of that. We're gonna have ground cloves, little cinnamon to go with it, and we're gonna have this 8.9 pounds of ham. What you're gonna do is cut this out of the package, put it in the pan that you're going to use. Make sure that you have enough space at the bottom of the pan to catch those juices. You're only going to cook this for about, it's already pre-cooked. It's cooked completely. All you're doing is warming it up. So we're going to put it on 325. We're going to put it in the stove for about 50 minutes. And after we do the 50 minutes, we're going to come back and we're going to glaze it. I will show you what we're going to do with that, with the brown sugar. We're going to sprinkle a little cinnamon and a little ground clove on it before it goes in the oven. And then when we come back with the glaze, I'll show you then. You see on here it says fully cooked spiral sliced ham. Most hams are fully cooked. So I'm going to show you. I don't use the packets that come with it because I make my own glaze. But I'll show you. I'm going to cut it out the package and stick it right over in my pan. This is one I always usually wash my meat off, even my beef. I usually rinse it off except for the hamburger meat. Of course, I can't rinse that off. However, this here, I usually rinse it off and go from there. I do not rinse off and I go from there. Okay, so I usually turn my ham on the face of it and I season it from on the top. I like ground cloves because I just like to mix it in with my brown sugar. However, right before we get started, I mean, you can use the other cloves if you want. Some people like to put their brown sugar all the way through it. I don't do that while it's heating up because some people are diabetics and stuff, so you don't want all of that. I just like the glaze to be on top. And like I said, I sprinkle this on top of the ham, let it season in. And I do a little bit, just a sprinkle, as I did there, of cinnamon.
Yummy. My favorite.
It smells good already.
And I sprinkle it, just a little sprinkle on top, because we're going to season it in with the brown sugar for the last 15 minutes. And when we do that, we're going to have the stove on 400 and stick it in for 15 minutes so that the glaze will glue to the actual ham and it'll look like a honey baked ham without being a honey baked ham. So now I'm going to cover it totally and make sure that it's covered very well and stick it in the oven. Make sure that it's sealed real good so it can get it warm. You want the whole ham warm because that's basically all you're doing is warming the ham. You're not cooking it, it's already cooked. I'm going to stick it in the oven on 325 for about 45 minutes. We'll see you back in a minute. Okay, guys, so with the brown sugar, we got a cup and a half of brown sugar. I usually use this amount for a bigger ham, but I'm going to go ahead and give you, for a 12-pound ham, 9 to 13-pound ham, this is what I use. I use 1.5 cup of brown sugar. I use a half of teaspoon of cinnamon, and I sprinkle it so it can get all in there. And I use a teaspoon of ground cloves. Now what you can do is while you're cooking, if you don't have the ground cloves but you have the actual cloves, you could take the actual cloves and just put them in through the ham in places on the ham if you choose. But that's for another day. Like I said, I like the ground cloves because what I can do is have it all, I don't have to worry about the seeds and stuff of the cloves, and I can still have the flavor. So I mix it up really well, and I take about 2 tablespoons of the juice from the ham, or you can use Vernor's or the juice from the ham, which is what I use. I just use the juice from the ham, and I pour it in because I want it to stay thick. And I mix it in. And you can add more if you need it, but I need it to stay pretty thick. And once you get it how you want it, you might need a little bit more juice, but I didn't want you to over juice it because once you do that, and I preheated the oven to 400 because I'm going to put it back in for 10 to 15 minutes on 400. You don't want that to overcook either. The ham is just right now. It's warm to touch and it's just right. You could put it in for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. I did it for 50 minutes. And you can go from there with however long you need it to cook for yourself, but you don't want to burn the ham. By all means, please don't burn the ham. You're just preheating. This was an already cooked ham. They do have hams that's not cooked. Those you need to cook per pound for 15 minutes on a low cook as well. You see the consistency? It's just, you see it made it a darker brown. You don't want it to be wet where it's dripping. You want it to be thick where it's spoon on ready. So when it goes down, when the glaze goes down, it's going to cover the whole ham all the way down to the spirals. Most spiral hams, or all that I've ever seen, were already pre-cooked. And I pretty much leave my ham like this so it doesn't fall all of the pieces. And I just glaze every piece of it. And when it gets finished glazing, it's going to have that shiny look like a honey baked ham, like you bought it at the store, at the honey baked store. But it's going to be a home baked ham. So when I get finished putting it over the whole thing, I'll come back and let you see my finished product. And then I'm going to stick it in the oven for the 15 minutes and let you see from there.
Gonna go.
Okay, guys, so I'm finished glazing the ham. And you see all the way around the ham, there's brown sugar, cloves, and cinnamon. It's all the way down to the bottom. There will be some in the juice, if you can see down in there. It's some, you know, it's some sugar, brown sugar and stuff down in the juice, and it turned it a different color. Now when I put this in, it's going to adhere to the ham, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to do 15 minutes on 400, and I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get back. Uncovered, please. Okay, guys, so the ham is out of the oven, and you see it's glazed all the way around. Can you see that, Chris?
Yes.
It's glazed all the way around. You could take it and flip it up. I kind of flipped it over, but it kind of fell to pieces, so I just put it back down. I wanted you to see it, but everything is done. It's done all the way around.
The lip right here in the inside looks so good. Guys, that's what I've been looking at for the past time we've been sitting and looking at the ham.
Okay, so pull it up here so we can get, you see the whole thing is glazed all the way around. Front, back, sides, all of it is glazed. It took 15 minutes in the oven and on 400. And we're going to take this and go ahead and I'm going to let the boys do a taste tester and we'll be right back.
That 15 minutes was so worth it.
Well, so much for sides with our dinner because they done already got into the macaroni and cheese. But here we go. What you say, guys?
Yummy. And thank y'all so much for 270 something subscribers.